Okay. So today we have He Knows I'd Love to See Him from Morrissey from Bona Drag. This was requested actually last week. Somebody left a comment and I got a few likes and such. And I thought, why not do it today for Morrissey Friday? So yeah, He Knows I'd Love to See Him. Who is he talking about? What's going on? What are we going to talk about? Let's get into it. Talk about it after. Let's go.
He knows. He knows.
Yeah.
Or I think he does.
Thanks.
Cause when I lived in the arse of the world, he knows I'd love to see him happy or as close as his love. Cause when I lived in the arse of the world, he knows I'd love to see him happy or as close as possible, as close as possible, as close as is allowed.
That double bass, holy.
My name still conjures up deadly deeds. Bad taste in the mouth. And the police, they actually know me. They said you're just another person in the world. You're just another fool with radical views. You're just another who has maddening views. You want to turn it on its head by staying in bed. I said I know I do. I said I know I do. Doesn't know.
Well, oh my goodness. All right. So Morrissey, He Knows I'd Love to See Him. I have to say off the top, I mean, frig. I mean, I love how he goes from that, whispery kind of breathy vocals, and then he goes right to that, his deep tone that he has, obviously the baritone. And you talk about, he knows I'd love to see him. And I guess just let's get right into the lyrics. There is no about on genius.com like you usually read or something. So I just how the intro, it starts off, the song really just starts right off too. He knows, or I think he does. So right off the bat, it's just like he says he knows, and then, it kind of changes. I think he knows. Anyway, and then the first verse, because when I lived in the arse of the world, he knows I'd love to see him happy or as close as is allowed. And that's one thing, that I've noticed with Morrissey, listening to so many Morrissey tracks, Smith tracks, whatever it is, anything he's written. It's like, you could end just, he knows I'd love to see him happy, but I like how he adds, or as close as is allowed. It's just like, I don't know, it's stuff like, he does stuff like that sometimes, where he just adds another line. And he's just like, I don't know, that doesn't always happen, I guess, with artists I listen to, I guess, whatever. But anyway, it just fits in. I just like that. I like his writing style, I guess is what it comes down to. But also, I wanted to also say about I should talk about, the musicianship here. So obviously, like I said, Morrissey's vocals here, I mean, they're peak. It's 1990. He's in good shape. He sounds great. Obviously, really enjoy everything that he's delivering. It's all, strong. And obviously, I have to say, obviously, the music is very kind of soothing. There's almost like a chime or a triangle. I don't know what it was, but it was struck, a few times throughout the song. And obviously, I said it during the song that double bass is unmissable. I mean, my God, I'm not a freaking music aficionado or whatever, but when I hear a double bass, I know I do, and that was unmissable here. And I mean, that verse really added to the tone of the song. And just to talk about, I guess, the rest of the band here, with Kevin Armstrong on guitar, Andy Rourke is on bass here, so I like to see that. One of those rare occurrences where a former Smith member is on a Morrissey solo track. Andrew Parisi on drums. Now the drums, I have to also say, they sounded kind of different, almost like. And again, I don't know everything about music or whatever, but almost like he didn't have the regular kind of drumsticks or whatever. It was almost like a paintbrush kind of a sound, which really added again to the soothing kind of slow pace kind of music kind of sound that I guess was going on here. So that was a great addition. And it says session musician. Try to say that 5 times fast. My God, Danny Thompson plays double bass. So there it is. He plays the double bass, but his input is not credited anywhere the song was released. Well, my God, he's not even credited, and he's unmissable. And then Mary Margaret O'Hara, that's what the name, provided backing vocals. So I did think, throughout the song, it was I looked at the time actually of the song, about 1.5 minutes, and then near the song as well, I heard as well, again, where I felt like is that someone behind him, a woman or something? And I guess there was, because I did hear it and I was right. So my goodness. But anyway, so just a fantastic track. Really, again, the bubble bass, yeah, the double bass really puts it over the top for me. I really enjoyed that part. It was great. And then just to get back to the lyrics, I guess now, just to go back, because I want to talk about this third verse, but I will get to the second verse first. Because it's kind of the same as the first verse, but it says, because when I lived in the arse of the world, in the arse of the world, it's just like great writing. He knows I'd love to see him happy or as close as possible. Now these last 1, 2, 3, 4 lines basically, I just love this part here, as close as possible, as close as possible, as close as is allowed. It's just like he really wants this person to be happy. I'd love to see him happy or as close as possible, as close as is allowed. Please, I'm all for happiness here. But then how it starts off, how he's talking about, he loved to see this person happy, he loves this person, whatever, this person's important. I like the change here in the third verse, because how he says, all of a sudden he starts talking about the cops, oh, my name still conjures up deadly deeds. He kind of gets real. And when deadly deeds is deadly especially is a very good word here for what I guess this, that he's talking about here. And a bad taste in the mouth. And I mean, people still would say this is relevant today. Obviously, Morrissey's name, you hear Morrissey's name, it's just some people get a bad taste in their mouth to this day. And the police, they actually know me. And I like, it's small, but I like that he says actually, like, I don't know, just to make it seem more legit. And it is legit, I guess. They actually know me. They said, you're just another person in the world. You're just another fool with radical views. You're just another who has maddening views. You want to turn it on its head by staying in bed. Now, there is one annotation here on Genius.com through the whole thing. And here it says, these lines are inspired by a police visit Morrissey received after he had released the song Margaret on the Guillotine with his debut album Viva Hate. A policeman might have said something quite similar to these lines. And it's like, we've talked about Margaret on the Guillotine before. I love that song. It's one of my favorite Morrissey songs. Obviously, it could be seen as controversial because you're talking about Margaret Thatcher on the guillotine. But of course, Margaret Thatcher, I mean, she was pretty disliked. Not a lot of people, loved the woman. And, when you're talking about her on the guillotine, I mean, I get, I've heard about this before, especially, with one of my favorite artists that comes to mind, like Eminem. I know that he's gotten, the Secret Service came to him after he said something bad about, I think it was about Trump or whatever. And I mean, I'm sure, obviously, there's so many different musicians. I mean, where, you release a song and then it's just like, I guess you might get a, police at your door or something, to talk about what you, sang about or whatever. But I can't imagine, Morrissey, I mean, talking about, Margaret on the Guillotine. Even, I can't, I can't even visualize Morrissey putting Margaret on a guillotine, but I mean, it would be a funny, you know, it is a funny, you know, imagery or something. But anyway, but yeah, I just love that, you know, how he's talking about something real. All of a sudden, it gets really real, you know, and how I guess the cop would say you're just another person in the world. And it's just like, I mean, to even talk about, you know, Morrissey, you're just another person in the world. I mean, I feel like he's done more than the average Joe, I guess you would say, you know, in the music business. I mean, I feel like, you know, his music, I mean, he's done quite a bit with radical views, maddening views. And I mean, these views, you know, from what I've heard, from what I've seen, again, I wasn't in the Thatcher era. I've never been to the UK and all this stuff, and I know the woman's dead now, but you know, from what I've seen from comments and everything, you know, she wasn't very well liked. And you know, so I don't think these are very radical views. These are maddening views. I mean, I feel like a lot of people felt the same way, but Morrissey, again, that not even really the shock factor. It's just what he does, you know, these kind of songs where he talks about, you know, Margaret on the guillotine. It's just like, who else would say that? It's just Morrissey would. It's just like, that's what it is. And then I like how he says after that, all that said, I said, I know I do. I said, I know I do. And then the ending here, though, it's very Moz. You know, I said, I know I do. He doesn't know. So it's just, he doesn't know. Is he talking about, you know, you want to turn it on his head by saying a bit. It's just, I know I do. I know I do. Is he talking about, you know, the cop doesn't know, or the person that he's talking about, who the he in the song is. But, you know, you get these questions and you might not get answers. But again, you know, just to talk about all that, you know, just from seeing comments on, you know, friggin' songmeanings.com or the YouTube comments, whatever, morrisseysolo.com, people talking about the song, some people have said, is about Johnny Marr. Now, you know, Johnny Marr, you know, I know that Morrissey's written about him before. And also I did see that some people talked about how this could be about Morrissey's father as well. And I don't know if there's if he's ever, you know, confirmed anything, but from what I'm seeing here, you know, all the pages I'm on, you know, like another one, Passions Just Like Mine, which I always go on because they always have good information on a Morrissey track. But you know, I don't know if it's about Marr or his dad or whatever, you know, I don't know. But that's one thing, you know, you talk about friggin' Morrissey and you talk about, because this came out in 1990, you know, 3 years after the Smiths split. And again, I love the Andy's on here. But you know, you have a breakup like that. It's almost like, you know, just an example, you know, I think about like Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters, you know, how he would write a song and the people would say that's you know, if it's about like, you know, somebody that he's lost or something, he's always talking about Kurt Cobain, you know, but just like, you know, Dave Grohl has lost so many people in his life, but people always think it's about Kurt Cobain, you know, people always think come back to him. And that's what, you know, it's kind of the same thing here. It's just where Morrissey talks about he misses somebody or he loves somebody, you know, that, you know, he wants somebody to be happy. And again, this was, you know, not too far after the split, so then people assume it's about Marr. But again, it could be about Marr. I don't know. But you know, this you know, there's an example anyway. But yeah, so you know, I don't know. Did I already? Yeah, I already said all the personal. My goodness. But again, the double bass here just put it over the top for me. Really enjoyed that. Just really enjoyed everything that was going on here. Like I said, soothing kind of melody, the soothing, you know, the soothing tone, and like I said, that double bass really set the tone. And I mean, how he starts off the song with the intro as well, you know, he knows. It's just like, you know, you're swaying back and forth, and then, but again, there is that little change there in the third verse. But I love it all, and I love that he's going back to talk about, you know, what happened after he released Margaret on the guillotine. And again, just picturing, you know, Morrissey putting Margaret on a guillotine is just like, my goodness. But I can't imagine the man leaving his house, for God's sakes, you know, because like I've said before, he's talked about how, you know, he's not very, you know, he doesn't love, you know, he likes people, you know, and like last week when I watched that video where people come up to him on stage and hug him and everything, but he does like his privacy. So I'm sure when a cop showed up at his door, he was kind of taken aback and you're like, what the hell? But anyway, I really enjoyed this, and I love how self-aware he is and all that. So, I mean, I guess that's all I'm going to really say. This video, 14 minutes, my goodness. So, anyway, thanks for the request. Really enjoyed this track. It was very good. I got a laugh out of it anyway, because, again, it's Morrissey all over. And I guess I'll even like the video here. 666 likes. There it is. So, anyway, thanks for the support. Thanks for liking, subscribing, commenting, all this stuff. Really appreciate everything you guys do and come back and watch and everything, and really appreciate that. So I will talk to you guys again soon, and have a good one wherever you are.